Hey everyone, Kyle once again, and welcome back to another movie review. After a long while, you know, I haven't been dealing with movie reviews because of the situation, but now, since I got the computer, now it's back to more movie reviews. And you're in for a real good one because I said before I was gonna plan to review this, and judging by the stuff I have behind me, finally time to review the 20th anniversary of a film that I loved growing up. Big fan of this film, Small Soldiers. Big fan of Small Soldiers. I grew up with the love in this movie to this day. What more can I say about Small Soldiers? I love the film. Always loved of the action figures of. I always loved the Commando Elite. I always enjoyed the Gorgonites. So and so what I have here probably is my collection of the toys I have here. For the figurines, I have back here, and you can see right back here as well. Yeah, of the Small Soldiers, the Buzzsaw Tank, Brick Bazooka, Nick Nitro, Major Chip Hazard, Insaniac, Archer, the Drill Cycle, including, as you see over here, the ones I have for the little Happy Meal toys from Burger King, and also including my Small Soldier Squad Commander CD-ROM computer game. Now, of course, long ago, I did a little walkthrough of playing the Commandos side of this game a few years ago. You can still it's on my channel. In my channel, you can still look it up. So I did a walkthrough of the Commandos side, and so I just add more questions out of the poster I got. Big movie, Small Soldiers. But yeah, this is one of my all-time favorite video games to play. I still love this game still this day. So yeah, that's all I have one more from my collection here of Small Soldiers. Sure, I'm a big fan of this film. And so, as for the film, it's directed by Joe Dante, who directed Gremlins 1 and 2, which I both enjoy. He directed the original Piranha. He directed Looney Tunes Back in Action, and a few other stuff. But I like Joe Dante. He doesn't do much nowadays, sadly, though. But there's one I didn't care. He didn't care for from was it 2010? It was called The Hole. I honestly didn't care for that one. But other than that, though, I love Gremlins and I enjoy Piranha, and I definitely enjoy this film. Love the film, and it came out during the summer of 1998, July 10th. It had some stiff competition though, but still it turned out a profit overall. And looking at the thing that Steven Spielberg is an uncredited executive producer for this film, which is quite funny. Steven Spielberg working on a film like this, even as an executive producer though, but he's uncredited. Love the score by my favorite composer, Jerry Goldsmith. I love the score to this film. I miss Jerry Goldsmith. I just really love the dun, 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 dun. Yeah. And as for the cast, I thought the cast still worked well. Gregory Smith, who plays Alan Abernathy. Kirsten Dunst, I liked her as well. Even to this day, I still in this film I do. Kevin Dunn, who plays Alan's father, and sadly Phil Hartman, who plays Kirsten Dunst's father, Phil Fimple, which is the last. This is the last thing he did before he was murdered. Sadly. But if I recall, he was murdered by his wife. Shot him when he was laying in bed, and then she shot herself. Sad though. So yeah, sucked what happened to Phil Hartman. May rest in peace. And as for the other cast, you got Jay Mohr, and you got David Cross. David Cross plays Irwin, who created the Gorgonites. Jay Mohr plays Larry, who created the Commandos. Denis Leary has a little bit of appearance in the film, though. He's the guy who owns this the company Globotech. Um, and for other ones and as for the voice cast, the Commandos, Major Chip Hazard, Tommy Lee Jones. I think he did a very fantastic job as Tommy Lee Jones as Major Chip Hazard. I loved him. I think it was perfect. He was perfect as Major Chip Hazard. Commandos! Commando Elite, fall in! I love Tommy Lee Jones. He's one of my favorite actors. He was just perfect as the voice of Major Chip Hazard. Frank Langella, who voices Archer, he did a really great job as well. As for the other voices for the Commando Elite, voices by the remaining Commandos, voiced by the original members of the Dirty Dozen, which is cool enough. George Kennedy, who's now passed on from a few years ago, sadly, voices Brick Bazooka. Jim Brown voices Butch Meathook. The late Ernest Borgnine voices Kip Killigan. Bruce Dern, father to actress Laura Dern, voices Link Static. And Clint Walker voices Nick Nitro, which I think recently from like a month or so ago, or maybe a couple months ago, Clint Walker recently passed away as well. Voiced Nick Nitro. And as for the Gorgonites, you got Frank Langella as Archer. Christopher Guest voices Slam Fist. Michael McKean, who played Mr. Green and Clue, and he also did that. He's in on the Food Network show, Michael McKean, Food Fact or Fiction. He's a good guy and a funny actor as well. He voices Insaniac. Harry Shearshire, which he was one of the voice cast members of The Simpsons. He also appeared in Godzilla 1998 as well. He voices Punch It. Jim Cummings, who did a lot of voice work, including Winnie the Pooh as well. Voices Ocula. Couldn't even tell that was him. But and well, there was who also who voiced Frankenstein. I forget though, but oh well. And I think on trivia, I think it was before the cast members of the original Dirty Dozen. I think that originally the voice cast was going to be to the guys who did from the Predator films. You know, Arnold Schwarzenegger and his gang. You know, like Jesse Ventura, Bill Duke, Shane Black. You know, although the cast members of who played the soldiers in Predator was going to be going to be voice of the Commandos, which I thought would be kind of cool to hear. But I'm first we find with the voice cast members of the original Dirty Dozen. But love the voice cast. The live action actors, they do great as well. Love the score by Jerry Goldsmith. Film's only about 108 minutes. It's easily fast paced for me. Even though, and also recently, I forgot to mention about the squad commander. Even how old games back in the day were good. You know, even Tommy Lee Jones even came back to voice Major Chip Hazard in the game as well, which was also really cool as well. Chip Hazard, reporting for duty. Let's take out the trash. I love his voice. It was cool. That's one of the part of the reason I love it. That Tommy Lee Jones came back to play Major Chip Hazard. But as for the film itself, what more can I say? This company, Global Tech, this big, huge. I think it's like for like top defenses, you know, all that stuff. But now it's a part of a toy company. And Gil Mohr is played by Denis Leary. He's the head of the there was another couple like Heartland Toys, where our two guys, Larry and Irwin, they both created the Gorgonites and Commandos, present this stuff to Denis Leary, and he gets the idea that, you know, the Commandos to fight the Gorgonites. The Gorgonites are the enemies because they're monsters and all that stuff. So Larry, he does a little things that on the stuff he's like to create the figurines. He buys these little microchips, computer chips. the X-1000, which they were part of the Department of Defense. So he gets these, puts them in the figurines as they're being assembled. And you got Jerry Goldsmith's great score playing. Da 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 da. And there's all the toys are being sold and shipped out. So we get introduced to a Gregory Smith played by Alan Abernathy. Gregory Smith playing Alan Abernathy. His dad, Kevin Dunn, runs this little toy store, but it's not that all that great because a lot of toy stores has more better sell stuff like war toys and all this stuff though. But still, and Alan's friend Joe, played by Dick Miller, who's been like that's my friend. Also, The Howling. I forgot to mention that another film like Joe Dante directed, The Howling, with the werewolf film. Yeah, it's like Dick Miller. He's been like little appearances in Joe Dante's other films as well. And they see the box of Commandos, and Alan asks Joe to lend him some, to make his dad's store a little money, so a little money, but so he agrees to it. And since his dad forgot to get his ticket, he leaves the store, give it to him, and it's a little funny where Kevin Dunn, his little argument with Phil Hartman, because there's a tree in his backyard, and Phil Hartman wants to put this big huge satellite dish. He wants to cut down part of a tree, and he's like, and Kevin's like, "Hey, what are you doing, Phil? This is my tree. This tree is beautiful. That dish is not a piece of techno crap to go along with your stockpile of techno crap." It was a little fun argument between them. So as his dad leaves, Archer somehow sneaks into his backpack. "Greetings, I am Archer, emissary of the Gorgonites." And while back at the store, Major Chip Hazard, because he turned himself earlier, they both had a little argument with Archer back at the store though. But then he punches his way out of his box. Activates the other commandos, like, "Commandos, team up, Commando Elite, fall in." All of them follow the assembly line. Tell with their names and all that. This is Tommy Lee Jones. He uses pieces. I couldn't think of any other person who could play Major Chip Hazard. He was just perfect as the voice of Tommy as Major Chip Hazard. And of course there's this little nod thing that where Chip Hazard, he's staying in front of the American flag, and he's like, "Soldiers, no poor sap, poor more I die for." It was like the nod to Patton, the film Patton, which is also another film that Jerry Goldsmith also did the score for. So it's a little nod to that. But Patton standing in front of the American flag talking. Yeah, there was a little nod to that when Chip has to do the same thing, talking to soldiers in front of the American flag. So remember, you're the best of the few and the proud. So they try this. They go off to try to destroy the Gorgonites. Well, they destroy one, which when they end up being rebuilt, it ends up becoming Frankenstein. Archer tells Alan this, and which even Kirsten Dunst comes in because they're also their neighbors. They live behind his house, but tries to help him clean up the store. And when his dad comes back, he noticed something like this bulb with a mass, and it breaks off. And he eventually gets in trouble for that, and gets mad at Archer as well. And the commandos, they see him leaving on his bike, and brick bazooka. They launch him to get Archer. As he's riding on his bike. And George Kennedy, who was also funny as brick bazooka. And he's getting dragged, and he sees his dog coming. He's like, "Watch it! I'll have your dog tag." He's trying to get up, but he's getting bumpy, and then he falls. He gets caught on the chain. He's like gets broken in half, but he's still alive. And also it's a good. And also I mentioned I like the effects. It's a good mixture of It's when it's like when they're moving, like very fast. Though it's obviously CG though, but close up when they're moving on still is. That the figurine effects is done well by Stan Winston. Stan Winston helped do the effects. For how the figurines are moving, like actual figurines, well done effects by the late Stan Winston. But this also the CGI effects when they're all moving really fast and all that stuff, jumping or whatever, it's still there. It's still decent. I don't think there wasn't that bad of effects though. So, but the effects by Stan Winston are really well made. So they know where Alan or know where Allens live, and what Chip Hazard says, it's a small world after all. And then back with Larry and Irwin, David Cross and Jay Mohr. Irwin, he's a little concerned about the voicemail that Alan left, and about the lawsuit and all that, and then he found out about the computer chips that were put into the toys. It was sort of a top secret, like a military defensive type of thing, which you'll see them later again. They're in hazmat suits. They're going to this little clean place, where they're in hazmat suits, talking to a little appearance by Robert Picardo, which he appeared in years earlier in Joe Tandi's werewolf film, The Howling, which he's also been in other stuff as well, and also the Star Trek TV show. He was that doctor. I forget his name though, but but I like Robert Picardo. He has little appearances where they're talking to him about the chips and how their weakness is that they're sensitive to EMP, electromagnetic pulse. So yeah, and then Alan finds well, not yet. When the commanders they're at Alan's house. They kidnap. They take Archer. They hang him upside down, being lowered down to the garbage. In the sink. The garbage. What was it? I'm drawing a blank. What was it? The thing in the sink where choose the things up when you go down the drain faster. The garbage gutter or gutter. I'm drawing a blank what it's called now. I'm still dumb for saying it, but he's getting lowered down into the sink into the gutter, and Nick Nitro has a little thing, cuts his hand, and is like, "Hey, that's mine, punk! Surrender, Gorgonite LI. You just met your match." And Mel's like, "Oh yeah," sticks him in there. He's like, "Surrender or die, medic, medic." And I liked the Nick Nitro. Besides Chip Hazard, growing up, my favorite commander was always Nick Nitro. I don't know, just the way the design of him is. Reach him. Yeah, I don't know why. I just always liked growing up. I always liked the look of Nick Nitro. He looks like a total badass. Just the way it looked with the mohawk and how his weapons are all explosive and all that. So yeah, but he gets his legs cut off, and he's like, "Medic!" And then Alan's parents come down and mad him some more. Because first they told him the truth about the toys, and but he doesn't believe that they're alive. He thinks he's crazy, but Archer tells them they're not destroyed. And then back they're at Phil Fimple's garage, the Commandos. They see all this hardware stuff that they're going to make use of, and they see Nick Nitro fall in, and it's like, he's like, "It's only a flesh wound, sir. Rest easy. You've done your job." Did we win? Oh. Yeah. As he dies, and Chip Hazard, Nick Nitro's battery has run out, but his memory will keep going and going and going. His death will be avenged. But it was kind of funny when they say keep going and going, his battery run out. I thought, of course, I think there was a nod to Energizer, the commercial with the bunny. It's like, it keeps going and going and going. That was a nod. I think that was a nod to that as well. The battery energizer. So, but then Alan, they find the rest of the Gorgonites in the dumpster where he threw all the parts away. They assembled Punch It, Scratch It, Insaniac, Ocula, Slam Fist, and they reassembled. Was Trogglocon, but now it's Freakenstein. And they're in Alan's room, and Insaniac is like he's having fun time and stuff, and Ocula he's the closest TV. He's like, hey, not so close, you ruin your eye. And then he's talking on the phone with Kirsten Dunst. Link Stacky's listening on the call with them. And as they're back in the garage, the commanders are building their war vehicles. So they're planning to take Kirsten Dunst hostage. And like how it shows with her parents, like Phil Hartman, like showing his wife this new TV set he got, and like he's the type of guy who's like he always gets like the best of electronics, like this big satellite dish, new TV, and all that stuff. And Chip Hazard with Butchmaker and Killigan, like it also shows from the inside their point of view, and it shows like the computer stuff like status or whatever, and it shows like Phil Hartman describes his character as like moron. So they make those little contraption with a mouse pad and some sleeping pills, toss in their drinks, makes them fall asleep. And they get to Kirsten Dunst's room. They tie up her little brother, and they see all these they're not Barbie dolls, they're called Gwendy dolls. And Brick was like, bombshells, sir. And he tells Chip Hazard, like, requires a 3-day pass, or denied. And it's like, those are reinforcements. Bring me the head of Nick Nitro. And then I think he's now fully aware about these computer chips that are in him. They know what they do. So I was funny that he rips Nick Nitro's heads off, and I like how the expression looks on his comrade's face, like Kip Killigan. Because Kip Killigan, he's a guy who smokes a cigar, and he's like, he drops the cigar in his mouth, I was like, oh, and then the other was like, oh, criminy, I think I'm gonna hurl. As he rips his head off, takes the thing off, and rips it off to get the computer chips off. A mind is a terrible thing to waste. But it's like, the other guys are like all shocked, like, what he's doing. So they use that computer chip and to make the Gwen dolls into soldiers. Like Bride of Frankenstein, even like Berkazuka's like, it's alive, it's alive. And the voice of the Gwendy dolls, you get 2 actresses. You get Christina Ricci as well, and you got Sarah Michelle Gellar. And still to this day, I still can't tell whether which voice is which. I still can't, because they both sound exactly the same. So I couldn't tell what voice is Sarah Michelle Gellar and which one is Christina Ricci. Still to this day, I still can't tell the difference because they both sound exactly the same. So yeah. So so when Kirsten Dunst gets back home after riding with this guy that she's going out with, and she sees what's going on in her room, she's getting attacked by the Gwendy dolls, and what was it, the guy she was with, Brad, and he sees what's going on, and the doll's like, oh look, a man. And he's like trying like throwing on him and stomping on him, like he's like when he throws one, and Chip Hazard steps in, it's like, hey you, banter! An officer and a gentleman does not strike a lady. And Butch Meathug sets his pants on fire, and he falls down the stairs, and then he ditches her and gets out of there. So then they send Alan a ransom videotape, and so they plan to use a decoy, think of the Gorgonites are in this box. And you get a little funny moment where they see the commanders hear the doorbell and tells Leak like roll, and he's like, "Oh, sorry sir," he runs over his foot. He's like, "Oh, sorry sir." And so Alan gets into her room, fights more with the dolls, and gets Archer helps her out get loose. They're fighting fighting all of them, and and when they put a stick of dynamite inside the box, we think the Gorgonites are in them, and Chip Hazard's like, he's like smiling, right? And when they find something with Decoy, he's like, Durr! That's funny. He's smiling, and then so, and then finally and then we get to like they get into their assembled war vehicles. When they break out of the garage, and they got that song, "Wah, huh, yeah, what is it good for?" Where the song was playing also, which in the same year, 1998, that song was also playing in Rush Hour as well. How funny that in the same year, 2 films play that same song. You got that in Small Soldiers, and you got that in Rush Hour. You know, Jackie Chan and Chris Tucker. Wah. So yeah, that's kind of funny though. And so they get on this moped they have. They're getting chased. They're firing at them. The Purple guys is one with a chainsaw. They kind of get together, lock on. But then when they jump off this not a cliff though, but for some part I guess a dead end though, but a little more down to the ground. It's not a cliff though, but they jump it, they make it, but then the commandos try to, they fail and they explode, and they're all dead except for Chip Hazard. He's floating down the little stream. He's damaged, but he's still there. And he sees the toy company, like it sells like a whole bunch of commandos. And Dick Miller, he's Joe, he's getting his truck and he holds him hostage like, "Greetings, you've been drafted. Move." And then back at Alan's house, the Fimples are there, and Phil Hartman is discussing, like, is this entire household insane? He's saying that toy is a lie just because it moves a little? What's next? A blue fairy drops by with a talking cricket? Please. And then Larry and Irwin, they drop by, and Jay Mohr as Larry, he says some like bullcrap stuff, and Kevin Dunn just punches him. And like, "Your toys nearly killed my son." And then Irwin, David Cross, sees Archer. Like, "Who are you?" "Oh, I'm Irwin. I designed you." And he's like, "He's a creator, boy." Then the lights go out, and then, which is kind of funny. It's kind of funny that how the Chip Hazard, he unboxes, like, the truck is full of commandos, all right, but not single one of But it's not, I'm sure some people will say the same thing, that there is not one major Chip Hazard there, just all the rest of them. I guess let's assume that this one particular Chip Hazard, our main guy, he's like the one and only major Chip Hazard to everybody, to all these commandos. Even though there's like other ones that are out there though, but it makes it seem like he's the one and only major Chip Hazard in command here. But yeah, he's the only one. But we have like multiples, hundreds of each ones of the other guys. So, and then Phil Hartman, he tries like the truce or whatever, and Insane Nick is like, "Hey, he's sending us down the river. The guy's a regular Arnold Benedict." And then the Major Hazard is like saying, "No, the Gorgonite strength is now 16." It's like, 16? Where'd they get 16 from? 7 Gorgonites and 9 people. And then it was funny that Major Chip Hazard is that he says the slogan which Larry mentioned to Denis early in the start of the film, the presentation. He's saying, "How about this? The Commando Elite. Everything else is just a toy." Denis was like, everything else is just a toy." And then Major Chip Hazard says the same thing. He's like, "We are the Commando Elite. Everything else is just a toy." And then you got that song playing. "No, say what you really want. Don't tell me what you want. What really want." I forget the song name. Well, the singer singing it, but it's like, "And you wanna be my lover," you know. I forget the singer singing though, but I've heard that song before since seeing this movie. Uh, and the neighbors are becoming a nuisance, and then they're attacking the house with their little makeshift vehicles, like one with like this nail gun vehicle, and then one's like shooting like fiery tennis balls, and Alan's mother is like using a tennis racket to knock him back. And they're like also shooting fireworks as well. And then with the four other guys like Phil Hartman, Kevin Dunn, David Cross, and Jay Mohr, there was like right here and on the floor. And it's like, great, all we need now is a nuclear warhead. Yeah, I think I'll check, but I don't think I have one in the junk drawer. Nuclear warhead? What are you talking about? It's the chips that are shielded against electromagnetic pulse, and nuclear blasts will wipe them out. That's why the military never used them. But what kind of moron would use military technology in toys? Well, that'd be Gizmo over here. And then Nick Nitro rigs a little bomb to blow the back fence. Fire in the hole! And he's like laughing. So that Alan gets an idea. There was an electric pole out behind him, used like to connect the circuits or whatever, and to create an electromagnetic pulses too. So, and then with Alan's mother, she just knocks one hit back a fiery tennis ball right into the back at them and just explodes. Kevin Dunn, the father, he's not sure. He's not sure. Alan doesn't want to do this. Well, he doesn't want him to do it, but he tells him he has to trust him. And I thought that was to me to this day. It may not seem like much or be able, but I always enjoy this moment where with Kevin Dunn. He comes walking out with a broom, right? And they're like, "Whoa, a broomstick!" He's like, he hits a couple of them, and then he sticks like this. There's another vehicle that shoots like flame, like a big thing that shoots out flames, and Kevin Dunn's like, yes, stick this in your pipe and smoke it. And sticks it in there, gets out of the way quickly, and it blows back and just. I don't know why I always enjoyed that part, especially maybe because of how Kevin Dunn said it. Then he sticks it and just gets out of the way of it. So yeah, stick this in your pipe and smoke it. And but him and Alan, they're pinned down because they're shooting that nail gun vehicle. But then the Archer tells the Gorgonites, "No more hiding. We must help Alan." So finally, instead of just hiding, they finally get a stamp and they fight the commandos, like with punch-its, like Gorgonites fight, and Butch Meathook and Kip Killen's like, "Whoa," and scratch it, with a slingshot, and then slam fist. Sanctuary, like, ring the bell. Sanctuary, oh yeah. And then punch it runs right across like a few others like bowling, strike. And then Frankenstein, he gets in that nail gun vehicle and starts shooting at them. So as Alan goes into the electric pole, Kevin Dunn, he gets caught in a net that links back like, "What are you packing, Tiny?" Packing you. So he's on the pole. Major Chip has like this little makeshift helicopter. He's shooting at Alan. It's like ain't war hell. And he gets on there, starts like stabbing with his little knife. Then Archer gets on. So finally they get a little face to face, And but Chip Hazard, he kicks the crap out of Archer, kicks him off. Like, school's out, loser. And it's like, victory is ours. And he lets his guard down, and Alan's like, "Oh, I got a shock for you, you stupid toy." It puts him right between the circuits. He's getting fried up, and he falls down. But he's now surrounded by commandos. And Kirsten Dunst, she comes out with a big lawnmower, starts mowing them over. And but then with Jay Mohr and David Cross, they are at Kirsten Dunst's house, try to use the electric breaker or whatever and to connect the wires. He does, and then creates an electromagnetic pulse, and all the commandos, they start exploding, twitching or whatever, and they start exploding. Him ends with Nick Nitro. He gets his head popped, and he's like, "Medic!" And Chip Hazard, he's still left just for that little moment. It's like, "There will be no mercy," and he finally dies out. So the next morning, they're all picking up like the toys, and Denis Leary, he comes in his helicopter, and he bribes like all the other like Dick Miller, because his truck's there, so don't get more like publicity or whatever. I think this company was involved in that. So he has his secretary, I guess, like make up a check, and then Phil Hartman comes in. It's like, what are the damage to my home and my garage? And he gives him the check. It's like, oh, this is nice. It's like, bye bye. And then with Alan's parents, about their house, and he gives them the check. It's like, oh, I think we have enough money to cover that. It's like, oh, I think you do now. So, and then, yeah, instead of the last we see here, Phil Hartman walking away, and he's looking for the Gorgonites and kisses Kirsten Dunst, and Denis starts like, too bad, would have made one hell of a commercial. So with Alan, he's picking up the remaining commandos. He sees like Archer's little bow, and he finds all of them underneath under Phil Hartman's satellite dish, which they're still working because the satellite dish shielded them from the electromagnetic pulse. It was a big satellite dish. It shielded them from being exploded or whatever. So, but then he finally takes them because they belong. They said that their home is a place called Gorgon, which is like this is located in the Yosemite National Park. That's where their home is supposed to be. So he puts them on this little boat of theirs, says their goodbye and all that, and as they sail away, and it ends with Slamfist saying, "I hope we don't hit an iceberg." So yeah. Well, like I said, I love this film. I can't. As basically, I still love this to this day. 20 years later, I grown up with this movie, and like I said before, when I got this poster here, I remember how I first saw this poster for this film. Was that years ago was earlier in 1990 when I saw a film. I can't remember back in the day, and I saw a poster advertising for this, and I saw this in the theater when it came out, and I loved it. Same year, seeing Godzilla, great movie experience, one of the best one for me. Growing up loving that film, one of the best movie theater experiences for me. And then same year later, sometime later during the summer, seeing this film, great movie experience, and I grew up and I loved it ever since to this day. Seen this film a whole bunch of times, and also, one thing I forgot to mention, in my collection, I have them stored away, though. I don't remember where I put them. I have, there were coloring books, like activity and coloring books. Well, some of them show, like, Commandos and Gorgonites, too. I forgot, they're stored away. I forgot them, I don't remember where I put them, though, but I had them stored away, though. But, like, these are, because I had these stored away in a tub right here, but I didn't put the coloring books in there. But, yeah. If I would put in there, yeah, I got even the coloring books and the activity books too. So those were those, and with the figurines, and like I said, with playing this game a million times on both sides. To this, one of my all-time favorite video games. Well, as a CD-ROM or PlayStation game, and that's one thing I didn't. That's one thing I never did get around to play was the PS PlayStation game of Small Soldiers. I mean, maybe it's because it was how the video game looked, and I just never. To me, that's one thing about Small Soldiers. I never got around and didn't care for was the PS video game. Probably because it was how the way the game looked, and probably because it played more of the Gorgonite side instead of being on playing Commandos. I don't think in the game you don't play the Commandos, you just play the Gorgonites, and this is one thing I just never got around there. Honestly, didn't care for was the PS video game of Small Soldiers. This though, I just loved, I just love this. I played this game a million times. I still love it to this day. As much as I played it a million times, I never got bored playing this game. Never. I just had so much fun playing this game. So that's why I would easily take this over the PS game. But yeah, the video games back in the day like this, they don't do it. They don't, because nobody doesn't play CD-ROM games. And everyone's it's always the apps on their phones and all that stuff. They don't play. No one doesn't play CD-ROM games anymore, but I still do. And back in the day, like I said, Tom Lee Jones, he comes back to voice Major Chip Hazard in this game. Or was it the same? Another good thing, Goosebumps, Escape from Horrorland. That was a game that actually had a budget in it. You know, you got Jeff Goldblum in that game. I think Steven Spielberg had a hand in it as well because you go on YouTube like the behind the scenes. Steven Spielberg talking about it, and even the werewolf in the Goosebumps game, CD-ROM Escape from Horrorland, the werewolf, actual animatronics. If you watch the YouTube the behind the scenes on YouTube, the werewolf is full animatronics. Like, yeah, the whole thing is on green screen though, but still, the animatronics that show how they're working it. That's the CD-ROM game that had a budget behind it. Like good actors, even Charles Martin Smith was in it. Jeff Goldblum was in it. Games like those back in the day had something, you know. Not today, because no one doesn't play CD-ROM games anymore. They're always on their apps, playing on apps on phones and stuff like that. To me, I play like I said, I'm an old school type of person. Call me old fashioned. I enjoy playing old games instead of playing these new. First of all, I'm never an app person anyway. I don't play app games anyway. So, yeah. But what more can I say? I still love the film. I enjoy the cast, the human cast as well, like David Cross, Jay Mohr, Kevin Dunn, the late Phil Hartman, may rest in peace. Gregory Smith was still fine as Alan Abernathy. Kirsten Dunst, same thing. Cameo appearance by Robert Picardo. Denis Leary for the little role he had. I enjoy him still. But as for the Commandos and Gorgonites, Tommy Lee Jones, top notch voice acting as Major Chip Hazard. Frank Langella as Archer as well. And for the rest of the supporting cast of the Commandos were great. Jim Brown, Bruce Dern, Clint Walker, recently passed away. George Kennedy, Bruce Dern was it. Ernest Borgnine. Then you got Michael McKean and Christopher Guest, Harry Shearer, Jim Cummings, and I said Sarah Michelle Gellar and Christina Ricci as well. Which I still can tell if that was them. Well, tell them apart because they sound exactly the same as the Wendy dolls. The humor I liked. I still find a lot of things very funny. Love the score by Jerry Goldsmith. It's definitely one of my favorite scores by Jerry Goldsmith. I gotta make a list of what's my favorite score by Jerry Goldsmith, but I know for sure it's one of my favorites from this film from Jerry Goldsmith. The effects, the CG was still fine. It's still there. No problem. I had no problems with it. But the full like action figurines, well made by Stan Winston. The directing by Joe Dante. I enjoy. I really have no problems with the film, none whatsoever. To this day, I still had fun with the film. 20 years later, I still love the film to this day. Big fan of this, not franchise though, but of the film, the figurines and the coloring activities I have, the poster and the CD-ROM game. I love this. I love the film, and I enjoy collecting the stuff for small filters. I still love it, and as for other stuff on trivia, I've seen it on trivia. See if there's any other stuff. I mentioned Gizmo because like how Larry used the password to create the chips. That was a reference to Gremlins. Gizmo, I forget that because Joe Dante directed them. Yeah. Granted, Commander Lee were strongly influenced by the G.I. Joe toy franchise by Hasbro. William H. Macy was considered for the role to play of Irwin, but it was played by David Cross. Yes, yeah. Robert Carlyle was Star Trek Voyager. That was the Star Trek show. He was the doctor of it, but he was also in The Howling, as well. Yeah, this was released before. It was before after the death of Phil Hartman. Sad to hear. Yeah. Yeah, the first movie for DreamWorks Pictures be co-produced with Universal Pictures, as well as the first DreamWorks live-action film to be rated PG-13. Hmm. Yeah, but it's like the film did pretty decently at the box office, but it was given mixed reception. 6.1 on IMDb, I give a much higher rating to me. 40% Rotten Tomatoes, I give it a much higher rating, in my opinion. It doesn't deserve 40%. But I understand because I think I understand because it was like mixed because it was like it was the darker aspects of for especially the younger audience because it's toys trying the toys trying to try to kill the Gorgonites is try even attempted to kill the humans as well. So that little darker aspect, that's maybe why because ain't for towards the younger audience though, but still. But at the same time, the effects are praised, so that was a good thing. So. Yeah, but 40% I deserve to give a much higher rating. But yeah, I love this film. Small Soldiers. Definitely, I would give it, to me, I would say good 4.5, maybe if not 5. But I still love this film to this day. It's a childhood film that I grew up loving. Los Angeles Times, charming and funny. Yeah, there's definitely funny stuff in it. And as for this ABC Radio Network, smart, funny, action-packed. And as for features, it's behind the scenes, the cutting room floor, interactive game demo, trailers. So, yeah. Definitely the highlight of the film for me is Tommy Lee Jones as Major Chip Hazard. He definitely made the film worth it for me. Yeah. But yeah, hope you enjoyed my review of Small Soldiers. 20 years later, 20th anniversary, love this film to this day. To me, I consider this a classic. To me, I will call it a classic. But yeah, and for the rest of my collection, it shows I'm a big fan of this film. But thanks for watching, and stay tuned on the next movie review. Later.